Hi, everybody. Welcome again to Ham Radio Perspectives. I'm Quin, K8QS.
And I am Tom, WA9TDD.
Welcome, especially because this is a special video that we're doing, very different from what we normally do on Ham Radio Perspectives. We are going to throw out for everybody's consideration a response to the Federal Communications Commission desire to either delete, or simplify the regulations. And we have been talking about this actually for years, but then we've come up with it now. What we think is a very interesting idea, a proposal for 2 amateur radio license classes. And we want to explain to you what those 2 classes would be, what our reasoning was behind them. Not all of it. We're not going to make this a long video, but we hope to get some response from you down below, either on QRZ here or on YouTube, or you can send us email. And we hope that this goes broad. And if there is a lot of interest, we will do a live, let's say 90-minute YouTube stream where people can post comments. And also we can invite people on from that stream live in audio and video to talk about our proposal. That's how excited we are about it. And we're not kidding on this. We do a lot of funny stuff here on Ham Radio Perspectives, but this we think would be a tremendous benefit to the hobby and would satisfy the desires of the FCC to simplify some things. So Tom, 2 classes of license. Let's have you jump in and talk about the beginning class. What would that look like?
Okay, and just for some historical purposes, back before 1951, there only existed 2 amateur class licenses. There was the Class A and the Class B. And the differences were mostly between the ability to use sideband, or like back in those days, AM and voice mode versus CW. So this is kind of a historical retrograde thing. But what we're looking to do here, Quinn, is eliminate a lot of the, I guess you would call it incentive licensing effects that were created, and come back to a more simplified way of getting a ham radio license and making the qualifications more within the reach of a larger community. What do you think?
Yeah, that's the idea with the beginning one. Fairly easy to get in, expand the privileges so we can get people more involved on HF, and then have that second license, the old Class B. We could call that extra if we wanted to, or call it whatever you want, a legacy or whatever. So you have these 2 classes. So it's still one that's easy to get into, like the technician is right now, but with extra privileges. And let's say with no harder exam than what the tech currently is. So it's
Correct.
easy to get in. And then what would those privileges look like that would be added to the current tech, Tom?
Okay, to the current text, I would merely add the ability to operate on HF digital frequencies, 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10 meters. No privileges on 30 meters because that is a very narrow band allowed for amateurs. And I wouldn't want to congest that band with digital operations anyway. But it would be taking the existing technician class test and merely expanding the privileges, adding digital to a technician class would allow some more experimentation within the digital modes, so to speak.
Yeah, and it's exciting to pick up some of that excitement of the HF bands with digital. Doesn't require any fantastic antennas, doesn't require high power. There's not a lot you can do in terms of interference and other problems. Learning the frequencies, the different bands, we could discuss or argue, however you want to put it, as to which of the HF bands, the digital modes on those bands should be open. But that's the idea. The tech comes in there with the present class of tech. There would be some changes probably in the questions and all to deal with the digital modes and the like, but it'd be very simple. And you get in with that beginning tech license, and there you are able to get on HF in the digital modes, as well as what's already available to the technician class on the higher frequencies. So that's our idea for what the beginning would look like. And it's kind of interesting, Tom. It's almost retrograde too, back to the old novice, where they had
Right.
CW privileges on the HF bands, and those CW privileges on the HF band, and certainly in my case, getting on 40 meters, for instance, with the old crystal control transmitters, really got an interest going in me. They sparked this magic of radio through the air, getting on with HF. So that's the idea. That's the beginning class. Call it tech, whatever. Call it beginner. Tech would be fine. So that's class number 1. Now we get into what to do with the second class if we're going to simplify this. And of course, what Tom and I are talking about is not having a general class and an advanced class like we used to talk about, and then an extra class and so on. We're not trying to expand all of this. We're going to contract it all down to one other type of license. For the sake of a label, let's just call it the extra class. You go from technician to extra. Again, what that exam should look like, that's open. But once you get that, what do you have privileges for, Tom?
Well, you would have privileges that exist now for anybody in the extra class.
So that's it. You go from technician, which includes the HF digital, into an extra class, which gives you everything. And I must say, I think right now, Tom, where you've got some hams out there, even legacy hams that have been around a long time, and they don't have the extra class. They didn't want to do it where there was a 20 word per minute code, and then they decided the heck with it. They talked to their friends higher up in the band, so they don't need the lower frequencies. I don't think we need these kinds of distinctions. And in fact, I hear a lot of people that are not licensed as extra operating in the non-extra portions of sideband anyway. We won't go through all of that, but we've got this very simple 2-class proposal here that we think will really, really work well. So it's almost like the old Class A, Class B, or let's say novice and just general. But now instead of novice and general, we have what we are calling here the tech and extra. And that is it. I love it, Tom. I love it.
And I think it would work out well, especially you mentioned the advanced class. That advanced class test was probably the most difficult test to not only study for, but to pass. And I mean, it was the equivalent of having an EE in electronics. And that's been dumbed down and eliminated anyway. So let's take it a step further.
Yeah. And so this is the simplified thing. So some people are talking about the FCC wants responses, delete, delete, delete. What can we delete out there? And we're saying, hey, we've got a license class to delete. More than that, we've got a proposal for 2 classes that we think will attract people in. I want to say one other last thing, Tom, about this business of attracting people into the hobby and that magic of radio, of being on, the HF bands, using the digital modes, which are so easy to use in many respects now. And computerized kids, they're into all the computers and all, are going to get on with that. And they don't even need big antennas. They can do it with little loop antennas outside or whatever. Okay, so it's simplification. It's some deletion. We haven't solved all the problems as to what would be included, let's say, in the new tech exam, what the questions would be, or the new extra exam. Tom and I disagree about this, by the way. He wants to keep the term extra, and I like a new term, something like legacy, to become part of the legacy of ham radio. That's my PR mind going at it. But either way, however we would solve those, we want discussion with you. So post your notes down below. Send us email if you'd like. And we would love to get some discussion going on this. Now, we're not trying to do an end run around the ARRL or this group or that group or anything else. We're just 2 hams with over 100 years experience in ham radio combined, who have been through a lot, have been very active over all the years and all the modes and bands and everything. And we're trying to throw out a proposal that we think, with some tweaking here and there, could really, really work and would be a boost for the hobby. And we know some people will not like it the way it is. So if not, tell us what you think would be would be better. Please do. Please take our proposal seriously and let us know if you want us to do one or more live YouTube streams where we can invite people right in with audio and video to join the conversation and see where this goes. We're trying to be as democratic as possible and not just go through any particular group or organization. And although we could invite the ARRL folks to come in and do a live video as well on the topic. Hey, thanks for watching this. Thanks for considering our proposal. And Tom, I want to say to you that it's been a ball to be in this hobby with you as a friend all the way since back to our high school days. And I want to say that when I talk about this proposal with you, and of course you came up with a lot of it on the tech side, what to do there with the digital modes. I want to thank you for that because I think it's a winner and you are one smart dude.
Thank you, Quinn. I appreciate the compliment and the fact that we've been together, what, about 60 years since we first got on the radio. So
Almost,
it's been a lifelong friendship and hobby.
Yeah. And it's a great hobby and let's keep it going. So thanks everybody. 7-3, this is Ham Radio Perspective. Subscribe on YouTube if you would, please. And my name is Quinn. I'm K8QS.
And I am Tom. Whiskey Alpha 9, Tango Delta Delta.
Also known as the Tasmanian Daredevil. Adios. 7-3.